Hello and welcome back to Matthew's Tottenham Blog, where today I'm delighted to say I'm joined once again by the one and only FABRIZIO Romano to talk Tottenham transfers and, of course, that crazy managerial pursuit that we are currently experiencing. FABRIZIO, before we get into that, thank you for your time today. How are you enjoying this crazy transfer window so far?
Hello guys. Hello Matt. Thank you for the invitation. Always a big pleasure to be together and to discuss about Tottenham, about transfers. It's a complicated window, to be honest, because many things are happening. It seems really crazy, but we are ready. We are fighting.
Exactly. It's going to be a crazy one. Already crazy. Going to get even more bizarre as we go on with some potential transfers going to be happening. But look, the first place to start, Fabrizio, it has to be Tottenham's pursuit of a manager. And in the last couple of days, we thought the Fonseca deal was done. Then that fell apart. We went for Gattuso, and that fell apart. What was it behind the reasoning for these deals not happening?
Yes, it's a bit different one to the other, because from what I know, the Fonseca situation was really done. It was done. It was verbally agreed. They had paperwork prepared, contract prepared. So it was just to sign the contract, and they were planning to announce Fonseca as new manager last Wednesday. They had a meeting on Monday in Italy, in Milano, with all Tottenham board, Paulo Fonseca, his agents. So it was really prepared. They were discussing about transfers, about strategies. So it was really, I would say, one step away from becoming the new Tottenham manager. Then they had, during Monday night and Tuesday, some problems on the taxes part, because checking the contracts between the lawyers, they found some problem with the contracts, because Fonseca was having advantage from a law that is here in Italy. When some manager or player is coming from outside, from other countries, he has a good law to use with the taxes, and he was coming from Ukraine because he joined from Shakhtar Donetsk to Roma. And this law is not applicable in England, and this was a huge problem, because it's like the 50% of the salary is a big difference from what they offered and what Fonseca would have received without this law. So what happened basically is that Fonseca was not open to say no to this money and to proceed for 50% less of the salary, and Tottenham said no to pay double of the salary of what they wanted to offer. So this fiscal taxes problem was huge. And also was some problem between the parts because of this, and that's why talks collapsed. And with Gattuso was a bit different, because immediately after they had problems with Fonseca, they contacted Gattuso. Tottenham have a good relationship with Jorge Mendes, Paratici too. He signed Cristiano Ronaldo to Juventus together with Jorge Mendes, so imagine how strong is the link. And Gattuso was free from Fiorentina because he parted ways with the club on Wednesday morning. So it was really crazy, the timing, but they immediately opened talks with Gattuso. They had a meeting, a direct meeting with Gattuso. Was online and not by person, was not by face, but they were talking with Rino Gattuso. And what happened is that on this side, they had a positive meaning, to be honest, talking about person. So the feeling was good, but what happened with the fans was also affecting this move, because as we know, Tottenham fans were absolutely not happy with Gattuso, not just as a manager, but because of something happened in his past, some sentences said in some interviews in the past. And that's what happened, that Daniel Levy and Tottenham board decided to go for something different, also because the moment is not easy with Tottenham right now, and so it's normal for them to decide something that makes Tottenham fans happy after 2 months without a manager.
Yeah, definitely. And it's, I suppose, a concern for the board that it's with the Super League and now it's twice in the last couple of months where they've had to completely change their stance on something because of frustration with the fans, which certainly doesn't bode well for the reputation of the board, I would say. But what Spurs fans now are looking for is who the next manager could be. And I've noticed with every time a deal has fallen through with Pochettino, Conte, and with Fonseca, and now with Gattuso, straight away Erik Ten Hag is the name that shoots at the top of the betting odds. And he's a manager that I think a lot of Spurs fans would accept. Can you see Tottenham going down that route?
For sure, he's one of the managers they appreciate, for sure, because he's always been appreciated. But what I'm told is that in the first meeting, the only meeting they had with Ten Hag, it was like 1 month ago, a bit less than 1 month ago. In this moment, they had some problem with Ten Hag, so it was not the best meeting they had, and that's why Ten Hag 2 days later he had the meeting with Ajax board and decided to extend the contract. So now coming back on Ten Hag as option, in my opinion, is not so easy. Also because Ajax are convinced that he's staying and he's going to respect his word and his contract with Ajax. He has a strong relationship with the sport director Mark Overmars at Ajax, so they don't expect him to leave. Let's see if Tottenham will change the position. For sure, he's always been appreciated in the Middle East, so he's one of the names, and we can't say impossible, because in this summer, everything can happen at Tottenham, but at the moment, it's not an easy solution. So for sure, appreciated, yes, but easy, absolutely no.
Yeah, and I think to call anything impossible with this Tottenham board would be a dangerous approach to take, because you never know what they're going to come out with next. But you were speaking about Ernesto Valverde, who's a name that Spurs have approached recently. Is there any update on that, or has there been any advances in those talks?
Yes, they, from what I know, yesterday night I tweeted that they approached Ernesto Valverde, people close to him, because I'm told that they had some contact. They were discussing him as a candidate also before going for Paulo Fonseca. So he's always been in the air, not on public, because it was not in the news about Ernesto Valverde as candidate, but they talked with him and with people close to him. So now they have, from what I know, many options. They don't want to go public with the next one because it was a disaster what happened with, as you say, Pochettino, Conte, and many others, Fonseca, Gattuso. So with Valverde, they had some contacts in the last 48 hours. So he was one of the managers they are talking with. We will see if they will decide to go with him. From what I'm told, he's speaking English. So this is something new, because in Spain he was, of course, not speaking English because he's Spanish, but he's studying to speak English, and he seems to be good. And this is so important for Tottenham board. So keep an eye on Ernesto Valverde, I would say.
Definitely an exciting one to keep an eye on there. And before we touch a bit more on Paratici and his involvement in this, some more names that have been linked are Julen Lopetegui and Ralf Rangnick. Now, Rangnick, interestingly, was kind of one that the Spurs fans were looking for as a potential director of football, but now being mentioned as maybe the next manager. Is there any truth to those links, or can you see either of those developing?
Yes, they've been in the list for sure, and it's true. From what I know, Lopetegui has a strong relationship with Sevilla board, so I think it's difficult now to convince him to change. Also because the relationship with the director Monchi is so good; they are preparing transfers together. So at this point, we are like close to July to restart the season, the new season, and it seems difficult to go for this kind of manager. Rangnick has always been appreciated by Tottenham board. There is someone in the Tottenham board really in love with this style, so I would keep an eye on him. But as I said before for Ten Hag, I say not easy for Rangnick, also because he wants to have the full power, the full control in the club. As you said, it's about the sport director, about the manager. 1 year ago, he was one step away from joining AC Milan, but they broken up also because he wanted the total control. But it's about the medical part, the technical part, deciding on players, deciding on transfers, of course, on the pitch as a manager. So if you want to go with Rangnick, you have to plan together with Rangnick and to give the keys of your club to Ralf Rangnick. So that's why going for him now is not so easy. But for sure, he's always been appreciated. So I don't exclude in any name, because they can do everything now after they were talking with 5 different managers this summer.
It's typical Tottenham. Us fans were quickly getting used to it, getting fairly sick of it as well. But look, as you mentioned there, Paratici, he's the man in charge of this. He's the man who's fronting this pursuit at the moment. A very different approach, I would say, to what Steve Hitchen and Daniel Levy had initially gone with. One concern that Spurs fans have is he seems to be focusing very much on the Serie A, with the managers he's put forward so far in Conte, Fonseca and Gattuso, and even some of the players will be linked within the press. Do you think Paratici will continue to look for Serie A managers, or is there a chance that we could go down a completely different route, like you said, with someone like Valverde or Lopetegui?
No. I would say no. Don't care just about. I don't think only about the managers. Of course, deciding the manager is important because it's someone you trust. So he knows Fonseca, he knows Gattuso, so he knows Conte. So it's normal for him to talk to these people. But I don't expect the transfer market for Tottenham to be only focused on Serie A. He's not in Paratici style. Also because when he was at Juventus for many years, he's always been so open on the market. So to make an example, last summer he signed McKennie from Schalke. No one was expecting this move. He signed him in 24 hours, and no one was talking about McKennie here in Italy. No one knew about McKennie. Of course, we as journalists know, but fans and people in football, they don't about Weston McKennie. He's always been so open. He signed players from other countries, from other leagues. He has no fear to risk. Sometimes he signed Morata when he was so young from Real Madrid, and it was a really good deal. He's always been open also to try from other countries, like he did with Tevez, with many players coming from different leagues. So he will be 100% open. And we know him here in Italy because he's famous here in Italy, not just as the best sport director, but also because he's really open. He's workaholic. He's always thinking about looking players, flying around Europe to see new players, new talents, but also to value the players in the top leagues. So I can tell you 100% that Fabio Paratici will be so open and won't be only focused on Serie A. Of course, he has an eye on Serie A because he knows the league so well, but he will be really open. Fabio Paratici is the most international director we have in Italy. So we had in Italy. So don't worry about this point.
That's certainly a relief to hear. And as well, like you were saying, and the way he's a workaholic, he hasn't even started the job at Spurs. Technically, he's still 12 days before he starts, and we're already hearing he's starting his clear-outs and trying to get rid of some of those players. But before we touch on players that may leave, I want to touch quickly on a player that is looking very likely to stay at Spurs, and that is Heung-min Son. Now, last time we were on the channel in January, we spoke about him and his contract being very close to being done, and it's strange it's dragged on for so long, but now it looks it will be signed in the next couple of days. Do you think the lack of a manager or anything is going to kind of hinder our chances of getting Son, or do you think this is only a matter of time?
No, I'm sure that Tottenham want to extend the contract of Son. They are negotiating with him since October, November. In December, it was really close, but about the timing, they need some months. They needed some months more to complete everything. Now the bid is on the table. They are convinced that they want to continue with Son, and the player is happy with Tottenham. Of course, he wants something important as project, and it's normal, but the feeling around the player is that he's staying and he's extending the contract. So at the moment, there is no problem, and they are continuing on this direction to sign the contract soon. Of course, we will see what happens, because the manager situation is important to see what kind of project they want to do. And Son is a top player, so he wants to understand what's going on, what timing will be to win, because Son wants to win, as also players. But the contract is on the table, and they are prepared to reach an agreement. So it's just up to Son, but I think it's a matter of time.
Perfect. That's good to hear as well. Now on to a player who Spurs fans at the moment don't quite want to talk about, because we're expecting some negative news on that. But Harry Kane, Manchester City are really pushing to get this done. Some reports in England have even suggested they've already made an opening bid for Harry Kane. Is there any update you can give us on Kane's future, or where the land lies at this point?
Of course, the situation is still complicated, and this manager choice is not happening. It's not helping the situation with Harry Kane, because, of course, if you want to keep this kind of player, you have to show clear project and something important also with the manager point. So changing your mind on the manager every week is not the best way. But at the same time, I can tell you that 100% Daniel Levy wants to keep Harry Kane, and he will fight to keep Harry Kane. And Fabio Paratici too will work on it when Harry will be back from the Euros. So they will try to keep him. But my feeling is that it's not easy, because from what I know, Manchester City are really pushing, but really, really pushing. They want Harry Kane. He's the first target, and they will try. It won't be easy, as always said, because Tottenham will fight to keep the player, because Daniel Levy, with 2 years left on the contract of Kane, is not feeling the alarm of the Kane situation, so he's still convinced that he can do it. But if Manchester City will do something crazy as proposal, we will see what happens. But for sure, the situation is still with Manchester City pushing more than other clubs, because negotiating with Chelsea or Manchester United, for a player like Kane is not easy. But with Manchester City, they want to try and they want to push.
And do you think we might see an update on this in the next couple of weeks, or is this a matter of Harry Kane focusing purely on the Euros? Do you think we will have to wait until after this competition is over to really get some developments here?
To complete the agreement, if an agreement will be in place, yes. So nothing will happen before the end of the Euros. This is my feeling. But to see negotiation progressing, or Manchester City opening talks or this kind of things with other clubs, I don't know. I would say no. So something could happen also during the Euros, as clubs trying to sign Harry Kane. But about timing to complete something, if Tottenham will decide to sell Harry Kane, it won't be before the Euros, because the player wants to stay focused for England and for the Euros.
Perfect. Well, look, if Harry Kane is leaving, there'll be a lot of money, hopefully, to reinvest back into that team. And the first place we have to start is at the back, because Spurs were so woeful there last season, and Paratici already focusing on improving that defence. Some names that, again, have been mentioned: Joachim Andersen of Lyon and Nikola Milenkovic of Fiorentina. Are there any other names that could be in the mix at the moment, or are those two the key targets for Spurs?
It depends by the manager, because, for example, with Paulo Fonseca, I've been told that one of the names in the list was Gianluca Mancini, the centre-back of Roma. He's been for long also in Italian national team. Personal opinion, one of the best centre-backs we have in Serie A. He's fantastic. I love him. But it was with Paulo Fonseca, because he was working with him at Roma, and he's been one of the best centre-backs in Serie A in the last 2 seasons. Now with another manager, maybe they will go for something different. And it depends by the manager, because you decide targets with the manager. But also, you mentioned Joachim Andersen, and I always say that Tottenham, apart from the manager situation, they've always been in talks on this Andersen side, because the player is so interesting. There are a lot of European clubs interested in Jan Andersen. He was so good with Fulham. Now he's back at Lyon. There is no advanced negotiation yet, because it depends by the manager, but for sure is one of the names to keep an eye on. But it really depends by the manager.
Yeah, and that's again another concern as far as fans. 10 days into the transfer window, and we don't have a manager yet to tell us what kind of player he needs. It's just worse and worse the more you think about it. But right back, another position we could potentially be looking to improve. And you've mentioned Max Aarons as a potential target. Is he the number one at the moment?
He's one of the options for sure. Appreciated by Tottenham. He's also appreciated by Manchester United. Are looking for a right back if Diogo Dalot will leave, because he's not sure yet. So he's one of the most appreciated right backs at the moment on the market. So many clubs are interested, and Tottenham are considering him as a possibility. But also in this case, it depends by the manager, because, for example, Conte wanted to play with 3-5-2, and maybe Max Aarons is perfect to play with 4. So it depends also by the manager and what kind of player they want to sign. But for sure, appreciated, yes. But then deciding to sign a player is part of the process with the new manager.
Yeah. Tariq Lamptey, another name has been mentioned. Have you heard anything on that from Spurs' side?
I think he's one of the players they have always been scouting, but from what I know, I think Tariq Lamptey will stay this season at Brighton if something big will not happen. Also, Arsenal have been scouting him for a long time, but now decided to go for a different right back. But for Tariq Lamptey at the moment, there is still nothing advanced,
Perfect. Just to save you from 20 minutes of Spurs chat, I want to talk about a few other clubs, just because 20 minutes of Spurs can be too much for anybody. One name that's been mentioned for Liverpool is the German and Mönchengladbach centre midfielder and Florian Neuhaus. Very talented player who's impressed quite a bit over the last season. Is there anything on his potential move to Liverpool?
For sure, he's one of the players that Liverpool are looking. They have a strong scouting team, so they are looking at him. They know him so well, and Liverpool have been also in touch with his agent to, it's part of the game for top clubs to talk with agents and to show interest in these players. But from doing this, signing player is so different. So at the moment, there is, from what I know, nothing advanced. Borussia hope to keep the player this summer and maybe selling him in 2022. So at the moment, I see this deal not advanced. At the moment, there is nothing advanced or not a bid. It's just an interest. The player knows, the agent knows, but nothing else at the moment.
Well, there's certainly one deal that there has been a lot more of progress on, and that is with Jaden Sancho to Manchester United. What's the latest on that deal?
What I know is not many things changed in the last few days. So Manchester United are negotiating with Borussia Dortmund. I've not been told of a new bid in the last hours. It's not just about the bid, because Manchester United know that they have to arrive to 95 million euro to sign Jaden Sancho. So if they arrive to this money, they will get the player, and they know about it. Now they are working together with Borussia Dortmund and with intermediaries in the deal to find the right way to arrive to this money, if they can. So it's around payment structure, bonus, these kind of things to find the right way to do the deal. Manchester United are confident. Borussia Dortmund feel that this time there are opportunities for Sancho to leave the club, and also the player is confident to move this summer and to join Manchester United. They have an agreement with the player because personal terms are agreed, agents' fees are agreed. So by player side is 100% ready. It's just about the clubs. They are negotiating, but it's not about bids, because the negotiation this time is going on in a different way since last summer. And so let's see if Manchester United will arrive to 95 with guaranteed payment, with payment structure, and with add-ons. This is the point.
Brilliant. That's going to be another saga we're going to keep a very close eye on this summer as we do progress. Now, one thing I want to ask you before you do head, Fabrizio, Watford back in the Premier League after a very impressive season last season, signing Danny Rose as well, a former Spurs player and a free transfer. Are you optimistic for the year ahead?
I am. I hope they can sign Cabral, this good winger from Sporting. Keep an eye on this guy because he's so good. I had on FIFA with me this guy on Watford, so him in the radar now for the real team is fantastic. But jokes apart, I'm really, really happy for Watford because, I'm a big fan. They have a good project, and I feel that something important could be done, same team, and restarting the project after the second division. So now it's a good opportunity. And after the championship here, I see Watford doing well in Premier League. I hope.
Well, look, I wish them the best of luck aside from the 2 games against Tottenham. But out of that, I wish you the best of luck. But Fabrizio, look, again, I really do have to thank you for your time today. It's so kind, and I know everybody is really appreciative of it, the time you give up for so many YouTube channels. So thank you so much for your time today. It's greatly appreciated. And hopefully you'll have some here we goes for Tottenham on our manager soon.
I hope too to have about the manager, because you start from the manager and then you will have the players. But really, thank you again for the invitation, and hope to see you soon again on the channel.
Brilliant, hopefully so. And everyone who is watching, put down your thanks in the comments for Fabrizio Romano. Do make sure to hit that like button as well, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're on the road to 10k before the season starts, so fingers crossed an exciting transfer window can get us there. But for now, as always, thanks for watching.